A scathing state audit is out on Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools, requested by 4 state lawmakers after our investigation called the Wild West of Education. The audit confirms what ABC 10 investigative reporter Andy Judson has been uncovering for years. Andy joins us now. So, Andy, what did this audit reveal?
Yeah, well, the state auditor found Highlands improperly took in more than $180 million in public education funds, money that they should have never received. The report confirms ABC 10's findings and details wasteful spending, unlawful hiring, and violations of state law, including gifts of public funds and conflicts of interest. And while the money poured in, student performance was so poor that it dragged down the overall state's graduation rate.
More than $180 million. That's how much money Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools received when they shouldn't have, the California State Auditor says, making it one of the largest charter school debacles in the history of California. But to the whistleblowers who came to ABC 10, it's not surprising.
Not at all. Not at all. And although I'm not surprised, I'm still incredibly disappointed.
The audit confirms Highlands wasted public funds and broke the law.
To me, it's just a big duh. Really, that was my reaction, was like, duh.
Thousands wastefully spent on items with no educational value, from sports sponsorships, political donations, to luxury travel, to places like Hawaii, Paris, and resorts in Southern California.
They've been using funds to benefit themselves. So it's just saddening.
And it was not just staff benefiting from your tax dollars, their families cashed in too. The audit details contracts handed to relatives, including nearly $400,000 since 2019 to a company owned by a Highlands director's spouse. And multiple contracts over $1 million were done with no board approval, violating the few policies they did have. And with no policies in place against nepotism or favoritism, Highlands hired and promoted unqualified friends and family members, often to 6-figure positions. An audit table shows the director of attendance rose to $145,000 salary thanks to their mother's seat on the board.
This is what happens when organizations and or leadership thinks they are untouchable.
And while the money flowed, students struggled. The audit says outcomes at Highlands were so low, they dragged down California's statewide graduation rate for the 2023-2024 school year. So who's responsible?
My overall feeling of the report is just, this triangulation of blame. SCOE and CDE and Twin Rivers just all blaming each other for lack of oversight.
Highlands Oversight Agency, Twin Rivers Unified, took nearly $13 million it cannot justify while doing next to nothing to provide real oversight. Even after a 2018 audit flagged critical issues that needed to be addressed, Twin Rivers renewed Highlands Charter anyway, and even misled its own board about the school's performance. The audit also holds accountable the California Department of Education, the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and Sacramento County's Office of Education, saying these agencies have the authority to provide oversight to charters like Highlands, but have not fully done so.
I hope they'll pay attention. I went to those agencies before we went to you. They just brushed me off and didn't take anything seriously, and I hope that we do create some new legislature or guidelines for oversight.
And with the audit's findings, it's now up to lawmakers and law enforcement to decide what's next. Highlands says it's launching reforms and has appointed a new executive director, Jonathan Raymond, who's the former superintendent of Sac City Unified. And it's worth noting we have requested an interview with him. And Twin Rivers Unified responded saying they've worked in good faith with the auditors. They disagree with some findings, but that they followed the law and are committed to improvement. Walt?
So this is an educational institution, as you well know. Have you seen this level of misconduct with so many people involved here?
Yeah, I think what people forget is that education institutions are businesses too. They're operating off of our tax dollars, and we have seen other issues, especially with charter schools in California. But this is one of the biggest debacles in our state's history, and one of the reasons why is because of so many different issues happening. I have my notes here because the audit's so long. Misreporting attendance, breaking the law with gifts of public funds and conflicts of interest, using tax dollars on luxury travel, hiring friends and family members, and spending money on political donations. That's what really makes this a big, big problem, and what lawmakers are looking to correct the course on. Walt.
This is so much lack of oversight, so much large sum of money without meeting basic requirements.
It is. And, there's a number of agencies that have an umbrella over Highlands and other charter schools. For Highlands specifically, they have the Twin Rivers Unified, they have their own board, They have the Sacramento County Office of Education and the California Department of Education. The audit said all of those agencies should have been doing better and providing more oversight, but especially Twin Rivers Unified School District. They actually took $13 million because they get money from providing oversight, and they basically did nothing. So the audit holds them and all those agencies accountable too.
Yeah, even the woman that you interviewed who said, duh, she went through the proper channels to go to the proper people to say, hey, but it took your reporting to finally get action here. Why is that?
I mean, that's really the question here. We've had over 40 sources. I think today it stands at 42 sources who've come forward and talked with us, both on and off camera, and they're current and former employees. And it took all of them to come forward. So that shows that there's a real issue here with people, whistleblowing and trying to bring light to these issues, because a lot of them say they were completely brushed off by these agencies and were not taken seriously until our reporting came out. So that's one of the things the audit recommends, is that there needs to be new laws to provide better oversight so this doesn't happen again.
Two quick questions, Andy, before we let you go. Is Highlands still operating?
It is. It is still operating.
Okay.
They did lay off 87% of their staff, and they're trying to reconfigure things right now, but as of now, it's still in operation.
And Highlands Charter serves what particular student? Is it high school continuation? Who is the student there?
It's a very particular group of students, and they're especially vulnerable because they're adult students. Most are refugees and newly arrived immigrants. So these are people who do really need an education and are getting their steps in the door here in the United States of America. So that's why a lot of our sources were so concerned that that money isn't going to benefit them. It's going to benefit school leaders and being used inappropriately.
The most vulnerable of students.
Absolutely.
Taken advantage of. Okay. Andy Judson, thank you for all you do on this story. Well, the California Department of Education says they've taken specific actions to hold the school accountable, repeatedly raising concerns. Watch the entire Wild West of Education investigation. Download our ABC 10 Plus streaming app to do so.